If she even so much as touched that Barrett, she'd be off the mission for good. That's what the SEAL commander said, stone cold, not an ounce of wiggle room in his voice. And, sometimes you hear a rule, and you just know it was written for someone else, not for you. But that's not how it works in the military protocol, is everything, right? But there she was, Eleanor, just a medic, never cleared for sniper duty, never supposed to even look through the scope on a 50 cal, but all it took was a second, a sharp breath, and the entire hillside fell silent except for the echo of her shot. Yeah, that really happened. And no, nobody saw it coming, least of all her. You ever get the feeling the world is full of ghosts, even in a place like a dusty forward operating base out in the middle of nowhere? That was Eleanor's reality, night after night. The only company she had was the faint glow of a cobbled-together comms terminal of Frankenstein's monster she'd salvaged from drone wreckage, rewired during stolen off-duty hours when nobody was watching, like some secret hobby she couldn't explain to anyone. Most folks saw a piece of junk destined for the scrap heap, but to her, it was a puzzle, a test of patience, and one day, it spat out a cryptic message signed Echo 74, whispering about an Overwatch vulnerability and a compromised convoy route, words that shouldn't have meant anything except they did, and they hit her gut with the cold weight of premonition. That's the weird thing about Eleanor to her teammates. She was just a 5 feet 4 inches doc with gentle eyes, a fair-haired Swedish girl who looked out of place among bruisers built like brick walls, the kind of person you want to protect, maybe even coddle, which they did, with all the unconscious condescension of men who think affection is the same thing as respect. Every day before sunrise, she lived a double life, one side all neat rows of labeled medical supplies, the other hidden dog-eared ballistics guides, hand-drawn charts, her father's legacy smuggled onto the base in the pages of old Swedish books. He'd raised her on the rhythm of a trigger and the philosophy that precision is what remains when chaos takes everything else. And by the time she was 15, she'd been a national champion, headed for the Olympics until the military called, and her world shifted. Then he was gone. Just a tragic training accident and a silver locket left behind. That same motto etched inside, a relic of everything she'd lost. But the truth is, her life's engine wasn't pride. It was guilt, the memory of a young Marine bleeding out in Afghanistan because she'd waited for the all-clear her team leader demanded, following the book while a kid died feet away. That was the ghost she could never shake, the reason she spent sleepless nights at the range, honing her skills beyond what any medic needed, because next time, she swore, she'd never be too late. But nobody saw that, not Staff Sergeant Vance with his lazy compliments, not the range officer who joked about her tight groups, not even Rock, the commander, whose world was made of rules, not exceptions. See, here's where it gets twisted at the next tactical briefing. While she stood in the back pretending to take notes, Eleanor was already running her own analysis, seeing the flaw in the map, the low eastern AO where the enemy would come, the same one the Echo 74 message warned about. Afterward, she tried to raise it with Rock, got shot down so fast it stung. Stick to medical, Specialist Kellstrom. He said, polite but icy, like her ideas were dangerous just because of the patch on her arm. The next day, as the team prepped for convoy duty, she was left to her little corner. The only person on base sure the mission was doomed to Cassandra, surrounded by heroes who wouldn't listen. The second message from Echo 74 confirmed it. Coordinates, names, enemy movement, no more theory, just a ticking clock. So she did what she'd been training for in secret. She risked everything and, using the hack comms terminal, sent a patch of her own. Shift Overwatch 200 meters northwest, set a secondary position on the flank. Then she waited for the sky to fall. Word got around, of course it always does. Suddenly she was being watched, whispered about, accused of getting ideas above her station, just for spending too much time with ballistics manuals. Miller, the range officer, meant it as praise when he talked up her shooting to the NCOs, but in that world, it sounded like a warning. Eventually, Rock made it official: no more range access, no more off-duty distractions, just medical, nothing else. Then came the real hammer, a formal inquiry, higher command, threat of reassignment to a desk job somewhere safe and silent. She was a liability, they said, not a soldier, not a marksman, just a medic who wouldn't stay in her lane. But all they did was burn away her fear, not her conviction. That night, while the base slept, Eleanor packed her custom med bag and optics, pulled her hand-drawn charts from beneath her bunk, and got ready for what she knew was coming not on the range, but in the field, in the place where it would really matter. When the mission kicked off, it went exactly as she'd foreseen. MC Allen and Vance took over watch. The convoy rolled. The sun burned the horizon, and then hell broke loose. Mortar fire, shrapnel, MC Allen bleeding, Vance panicked, the kill zone just minutes away. Air support was grounded by sandstorm, ground reinforcements too far to matter. Eleanor heard it all over the comms, her mind racing, protocol crumbling. She ran to the command tent and volunteered to take MC Allen's place. Rock's answer was pure rage, a barked order to stay put. But this time, she didn't listen. You know that feeling, right? When you know you're all in, and the risk is worth whatever comes next. She left, not to the med bay, but to her quarters, packed her gear, slipped out through the side gate, commandeered a dusty white pickup, drove toward the gunfire and the ridge, her brain mapping every curve of the land, every hidden path she'd studied in secret. The final approach was a test of every run, every drill, every bit of strength her teammates used to tease her about. When she reached the crest, battle was chaos incarnate. MC Allen down, Vance nearly spent, Barrett lying in the dirt like an accusation. First, she stabilized MC Allen, hand steady, voice calm, medic mode flawless. Then, she did the unthinkable, lay down behind the Barrett, settled into the scope, and found the rhythm her father taught her: the pause between heartbeats, the absolute stillness. One shot, the enemy threat in the AO vanished, precision overwhelming chaos. And for a moment, nobody said a word, not even Vance, who could only stare in awe, the old rules blown apart. The fight wasn't over, of course. Mortars fell, smoke rolled, targets moved through the haze, but Eleanor was a machine. Shoot, stabilize MC Allen, call for Vance's spotting, shift aim, fire again. She became a three-person team rolled into one. The medic, the sniper, the glue. When the convoy finally made it through, the radio chatter was stunned, the command post dumbfounded. They called it surgical overwatch, wondered aloud who was behind the shots. Then the comms picked up Vance calling out to Doc, and Rock realized, with a gut punch of horror and awe, that the one person he'd ordered to stand down was the only one holding the line. The helicopters came in, judgment on black rotors, and Rock led the charge up the ridge, torn between anger and professional respect. He demanded answers, and Eleanor gave them calm, unflinching, the whole story laid out, not as defiance, but as necessity, as the only choice left when protocol failed. The twist? Outstepped Colonel Tamsin Rain, a legend in her own right, who knew Eleanor's father, who saw through all the facades and called out the truth: "You must be your father's daughter." For the first time, Eleanor wasn't just seen, she was understood. The debrief became a revelation. The panel dropping insubordination charges, Rock admitting he'd been wrong, the entire system forced to reckon with what they'd tried so hard to suppress. Her new orders were clear: dual designation, medic and tactical support specialist, full sniper training authorized. The message was louder than any verdict. Sometimes the rules need to be broken. Sometimes the system needs to see what's right in front of it. That night, in her quarters, a single encrypted message flickered to life on her old comms terminal: "They saw you. Now they know." Signed Echo 74. And that, is where the real debate starts. Was Eleanor right to break the rules? Did Rock's change of heart redeem him? What would you have done in her place, watching disaster unfold and knowing you were the only one who could stop it? Let's hear your take in the comments. Was justice done? Or did the system just get lucky? Because sometimes the battlefield isn't just about bullets and blood. It's about seeing past titles, past old hierarchies, and recognizing courage wherever it hides. If Eleanor's story hit home, drop your thoughts below and share what you believe about second chances, courage, and rewriting the rules when the stakes are life and death.